How's it going, guys? So, let's see. Let me know if the stream is being weird because I am actually using the stream that's a part of, like built into YouTube rather than just doing it my normal way. Although it should be somewhat similar. It looks like they want my bit rate to be higher. But yeah, I'll play around with it after the fact, unless it's completely ineligible. Let's see, that might help. It looks fine. Good. How am I? I'm good, man. I just got back in town. The love of my life and I, we went out of town for the 4th of July, took the dogs with us, so we went to Atlanta, Georgia, got an Airbnb, nice little place to ourselves, and just got some food, took the dogs to a couple parks, that type of stuff. Nothing too fancy. It was sort of a last-minute thing. We wanted to go out of town, basically, and we didn't really plan accordingly. We actually wanted to go on a cruise. And it wasn't that we didn't have the money for a cruise or anything like that. It was just the fact that we waited too long because all the cruise ships were booked and we couldn't get anything. We had a friend lined up who was going to watch our dogs and our cats and whatnot, but didn't work out that way. So I want to talk a little bit about mentoring as people sort of funnel in here. And this is something that's very interesting right now where I'm sort of at the point in my career where I am mentoring more than I am being mentored. And it puts you in a position where you need to sort of reevaluate how you are going to... Here's the thing, is I always want to be mentored to a degree. I always want to make sure that I am surrounded by people who are better than I am and that are more knowledgeable and that I can go and steal some of that knowledge. That's how I look at it. So, how do we go about doing that? Well, at any new workplace, it is crucial for you to go and sort of throw yourself onto additional tasks, additional projects, and sort of put some feelers out there to see who does what and who does what well. So one way that you can go and be mentored, sometimes people think they're going to go to meetups and be like, will you be my mentor? It doesn't work like that. But how it does work is you provide value, and in the process, you gain value. And this is what you need to understand is, if you want to, there's obviously you can go and pay someone to be your mentor, right? If you want to sit down with me, I mentor people on a weekly basis. I do these live streams to do some mentoring, but then I do some one-on-one mentoring so we can address your issues and I can help provide direction because a lot of you are coming from the same spot that I'm coming from. I have come from. I've walked in your shoes to a degree, and you want to make sure you're going the right direction, and we all can understand that. Now, for me, it looks like I am looking for somebody to mentor my growth rather than direction, and that's a different sort of thing to be in because a lot of the people who are at that point in their career are very busy people. They have family, they have lives, they have kids. So how do I put myself into that position? And it's by taking on more responsibility and providing value and being around those people. You gain some things and you get the opportunity to poke around in their brains a bit, and you make relationships and you provide value. You don't expect value, you provide value, and in the process, here's how the world works. When someone gives you something, typically you want to say thank you. The same is true for mentoring and development. When I give my time, effort, and energy to help your team, they want to help you out in return because you've done them a solid. So as you guys are trying to find those mentors in your life, remember to provide value and not just expect things. So I just want to do that. You'll notice that I have stolen... so a lot of you guys are probably Joshua Fluke fans like myself, but I've stolen his, hey, if you want me to review your resume or anything like that, I think he does like 5 things, like draw something. I'm not going to draw something for you. I can't draw. And he cover letters. I could give you some tips on cover letters, but it's not my MO. Resume review is something he does that I think I can provide some value. And then one thing that I really like is code reviews. So if anybody's interested in getting their code reviews, just some extra ways that I can help pay this house down a little bit earlier. Your boy's good on money, so don't think that you need to help me eat or anything like that. Life is good. But did throw that up here, which is part of the reason why I was playing around with this stream setting. So what can I do for you guys, man? How's your guys' weekend going? How's your guys' day going? Because mine is just getting going. Am I going to watch the fights this weekend? Absolutely. If I can find a stream. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I'll see if my buddy wants to watch the fights. I don't necessarily like, right now. So some fun stuff to say, and I can't say too much because it's not quite there yet. But I just submitted a course to Udemy for review. It's my largest course yet. It's about 10 hours of content. And right now we're just working through some fine-tuned details, getting an image made, having them. They sent back one request of a video to be changed, and so I'm just clarifying some stuff. But that will be coming out this week in all likelihood. Kevin, you getting a raise next week? Good on you, son. Good on you, Kevin. Do I feel settled in at my workplace yet? Sort of. It's sort of, yeah. So I ruffled a few feathers when I came into my current workplace, as I do, because I'm very strict about quality and standards and, making sure that we enforce these things. And not everyone understands. So, yes, it is the interview questions ones. Have I found those senior devs yet? Not quite yet. There is one, actually. I'm very impressed with my direct superior, who has already opened my mind to a couple of directions where I can go to progress. So he turned me on to the Google Developer Expert program, which wasn't something I even knew existed. And, he's very big on quality. And so there's quite a few quality things I want to pick his brain about when we get some time. But yeah, the course is the interview question one. I'm very proud of it. It came out really good, I think. And I think you guys are going to love it. Will I do a course in the mean stack? Eventually. Right now, so my goal is really to help you guys get jobs and make unique courses in the process. So right now with me, I'm actually in I'm talking with a couple different companies about licensing content out. And that's sort of one thing that I'm interested in doing, is taking existing content and going making some more money with it. Or making content for platforms to make passive income is probably a better way of putting it, while still owning the rights to it. So that's sort of something that's interesting. But what's cool is that we are wrapping up. Not only did I wrap up this course, about 99% there, we are about 75% there to wrap up our 24 episode podcast that Eric and I have been working on. So these are two big projects that we have really been tackling. I've been working on for the last 3 or 4 months nonstop. And I've always wanted to release a podcast, and we finally did it. It's not out yet, but it is going to be out. It's not a pipe dream. We have 15 of the 24 episodes filled. I'm building a website for it in a little bit of my downtime. We're working on it. So it's coming out. It's going to be good. But when it comes to courses, I try not to, I did build a JavaScript course because that's sort of my bread and butter. And I did do some Angular courses, but the more I think about it, the more I want to build something that's unique. And that's why I did the 100 algorithms, and I'm doing the 100 technical questions. And, I'll probably do 100 component or 100 projects. So will the podcast be ongoing thing depending on the success of the first season? Probably. So Eric and I worked really, I enjoy it. So I've tried to do a podcast or side projects with people in the past, and they just never really felt like we clicked or really was a good fit. But now that, I've done this with Eric, and I would say that based on how it does and how much it was a fun experience. And now it'd be easier to do a second season because now we'll have the website up. Now we'll have all the various paths set up. All the other, like all the overhead is already done. And now we just have to go and talk about something again. So 24 episodes is quite a bit for your first season. I would say that if we did a second season, it would be dependent on the success of the first season. And it may, we may just, depending on it, we may do like the second season maybe 12 and third season maybe 12, something like that. We don't necessarily have to do 24 episodes every single season. We just wanted to release, we had a list of good topics and we thought that that was an amount that we could do. Yeah, and not, I mean, so here's the thing, is like, will it be a financial success is really will we make money and stuff? You have to remember is that a lot of times when you create a podcast, it's a great portfolio item. It makes you sound very educated, it makes you sound very passionate, and it's one of those items that make you stand out. And we'll be marketing other things. Like maybe we'll have sponsors. This is one of the parts that we're still working out. Maybe we'll have sponsors with boot camps, or maybe we'll have affiliate links, or maybe we'll just promote our own stuff. And even though you maybe don't make that much ad revenue from the podcast, your notoriety, your sort of skill level goes up. Got some theory on how CSO Dojo got to 1 million subscribers. By all means, he's all right and gives good content. Really curious on the real reason he got so much subscriber growth. My personal opinion, Kevin, is that he is as somebody who has been in a CS program, a lot of those topics he are tackling, and there's not that many people tackling them. Why there is a huge influx of people going into software engineering. And so I think there's just a lot of college students that are finding his material very helpful, and he's been able to capitalize off that. That's my personal belief. I quoted you in an interview recently, got the job too. What did you say? I'm very curious. What was the quote? Let me guess. Is it my get good, get great, get better? That could impress somebody in an interview without a doubt. I don't know if it ain't no fun if the homie don't code none. May not impress too many people. But good on you, Robert. I'm dying to know what the quote was. What was the quote? I gotta know, so if I need to use it one of these times. Get that cheddar, yeah, get that cheddar, get that bread. Oh man, I got a new Dolan sketch that Ricky and I have it's all planned out in my head. It was, I want this job because I believe it'll make me a better developer. Very honest and very important statement. Really shows what direction you're trying to go, how you're trying to improve. So I could see how that'd be something that would be something attractive. And vice versa. I could see how it could be unattractive to the wrong workplaces where they don't want to mentor or grow you at all. So, have I heard of Lambda School? I've heard of it, yeah. Could I buy your unfinished book? Oh my goodness. So here's the thing with the book. Not yet, but I was talking with a couple colleagues of mine and friends that have book deals and have done books, and there are platforms out there where you can get early buyers where they can as you write it, you can do weekly releases and people can read and comment on it and something like that. So, it's looking like I'm not going to finish the book this year. What I might do is put up at the end of the year, because I haven't touched it in about 2-3 months because I've had so many additional sort of opportunities pop up and projects that it's got pushed to the back again. But that might be what I do in 2020 is do it there. And that way, I'll get some feedback from you guys to see what you think. And I'll be a little bit more motivated to put out a chapter a week or something like that so that, you know, if people are paying money up front, I got to deliver, right? It's not, you just can't do that. That's a bad look. That's a bad Kickstarter look. But we'll see what happens, man. But not right now. No, you can't buy it right now. I need to check your dev knowledge into my face. Oh, man. I'm glad to hear that you might be getting a promotion. And my boss the other day told me he wants to make me a front end team lead. So I think that's gonna happen in a week or two. I'm not quite sure. Is there a way to filter for small businesses and agencies on job hunting sites? Not that I'm aware. Oh, you know what? There might be, actually, because I know that when you go to job preferences, you can set... So let me do like JavaScript engineer. I know when you go to job preferences on like LinkedIn, you can filter by how many employees they have, or you can make a recommendation. So the only thing that experience level might work for you, where you might do internship, entry level, associate. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have a filter for companies that have it. That's just a preference thing for people to reach out to you. Yep. At least on LinkedIn. I really only use LinkedIn nowadays. I used to use ZipRecruiter quite a bit. Should collab with Tech Lead with Dolan. What are the responsibilities of front-end team lead? Really to provide mentorship, direction, and make sure that you adhere to the quality and standards, and make sure that people who are maybe not as familiar with the front end start ramping up. At least that's my interpretation of it. How to network at jobs with meetups without sounding needy? Just keep going. Keep making recommendations, and keep showing up. Keep just introduce yourself and whatnot, and eventually opportunities will come. Is it ever appropriate to ask out a colleague? I would say there are cases in which it is appropriate. What I would also say is be very careful, because you don't want to make your work situation very awkward, and you don't want to ruin a good thing. Just make sure that people are interested. Would I recommend paying for LinkedIn Premium? I never have, but I have considered it. Yeah, I mean, I could tell you how. When I was 16, I worked at Albertsons, and I was a courtesy clerk or a bagger, and there's this girl Courtney who I liked, and we dated for about 3 months, and then she dumped me, and then I had to go work, and I was crushed, and I was humiliated, and I was depressed. All the things that you go through when you go out. But it was an awful experience. But what I would say is, a large portion of people meet in the workplace. You should already know the answer to. So here's how I would put it. If you don't know the answer to whether or not he or she would go out with you, if you were to ask them, like, you need to understand that you need to already know that answer. That you're 99% sure it's a yes, and that they want you to ask them out. Otherwise, don't do it. It's just not worth it. Did I write a mass custom cover letter for everyone, or just a general one? I wrote just a general one, and I changed 1 or 2 lines. No, I totally shit on jQuery. that's. I mean, I doubt I'm the only one, but that's I'm definitely one of the people that says not to do the jQueries. Have I watched Alita Battle Angel? I have not. No. Yeah, man, I remember being crushed though at 16. Like absolutely crushed. Why am I not a fan of jQuery? Well, one, it's very hard to test. Two, it's a lot of DOM manipulation, and it makes it very hard to follow the logic. And three, compared to using like a framework, for instance, it doesn't really have lifecycle hooks that you can test very easily, and it is it's a lot of stuff to do very little most of the time. Do you listen to music while coding? Yes, I do. The best dev meetups in the Tampa area. The one I used to go to got closed after the Iron Yard shut down. But just look for whatever you like, man. Just try. I just look for JavaScript and find some stuff on there. I jump between meetups. I haven't been going for the last 6 months, which is bad on me. But I'll be going pretty soon. Probably next month or two to try and scalp some talent from my work. So they're having difficulty finding good devs, so I'm going to go find some and collect some referral fees, I hope. As well as get some teammates. I need some teammates. If any of you are mid-level JavaScript engineers or better, and you want to come work with your boy, my company pays well, and they have great benefits. They're one of the largest consulting firms in the world. Hit me up. Could you afford Miami comfortably? I don't know. I don't know I know Miami's expensive. I probably couldn't afford this house in Miami. I have a brand new 2,830 square foot house that's cost $260,000, and it's pretty nice. Granite countertops and nice tile flooring downstairs, and so I don't know. Can you live comfortably off $150,000 in Miami? What's the new Udemy course? The new Udemy course, which isn't out yet, covers the 100 most like technical phone screen type questions for the front end. I had a great interview on Tuesday. How long on average to hear back? Well, it depends on where you're at in your career and how good you did. So typically, if a company wants to hire me, I get an offer that day because they realize that I'm not going to be on the market very long. So if a company wants to hire me that day, that morning, absolute tops. I don't know if it's the same for the average candidate, but I would say within the week is probably standard by most jobs. So I use Angular instead of jQuery. I can. Here's my thing with jQuery is if you're doing something small, fine. But when you're building an entire web application, when you're no longer building a single component and you're building an entire web application, it's time to use a framework or a library if you want to call React a library. I don't like calling React a library. Do I follow the financial independence retire early movement? I do not follow it, but it sounds like something that is part of my lifestyle already. Yeah. If here's the thing with the interview thing. If I haven't impressed people enough through my interview to hire me that day and they want to continue on with the other interviewers,
then I haven't done my job. I'm just not very good at the interview. I didn't do very good in the interview. That's why I've every time I've ever gotten hired, I've come home. I told April, I was like, I just got a new job today. before they've even called, she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, they're gonna call me today without a doubt, and it's very apparent. Do I vacation much? Not really. We went out of town this weekend to Atlanta, Georgia. I wouldn't necessarily call it a vacation. It was a little bit of a. It's only 7-8 hours away, so we went out. But I just doubled my PTO, so I probably will this year. How do you optimally schedule interviews while working full time? Well, you do it during lunch, or you do it early in the morning. You do it late so that you can leave early, or you can arrive late. Those types of things. So I hear. Yeah, I don't necessarily have an issue with jQuery per se. I have an issue that people always feel the need to use jQuery and they can't do anything on their own anymore. It's the same issue I have with Bootstrap. My first dev job, what was my skill set? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, AngularJS, Git. That was where I was at. I wouldn't say I was very good. And jQuery. How to find hackathons that aren't for students? The one company that I've gone to in the past is called Angel Hack. The issue with them is they're nowhere near me anymore. They only really go to major cities, but if you go to angelhack.com, you can find some hackathons going on. That's just one company. But yeah, they do seem very like this one's in New York City, the other one's in Seattle. So you put up with jQuery as long as you had to. I mean, jQuery is probably the first library you learn as someone learning front end development, and then you use it for certain things. Use it for very basic stuff. jQuery is very hard to follow the logic long term, and it's very hard. That's why you have a lot of these legacy sites that are just breaking all over the place and need to be maintained, and most of it's in jQuery that's doing just jQuery magic. And none of it, and you have 2,000 line files instead of 200 line files. It's hard to create a large application in jQuery properly. But no, I use jQuery because that's sort of what you do, right? You jump in, your very first library is jQuery, but you're supposed to move past it, right? And part of the reason with it, yeah, and like Kevin put it quite well. He doesn't have an issue with jQuery either. It's just that those who favor jQuery probably don't learn new tech. And most of you don't. Most of you want to make a lot of money, right? You're not going to make a lot of money learning jQuery. There are very few six-figure jQuery jobs. If you want to make good money, you got to go pick up React or Angular or even Vue. And so, no one's making the fat stacks with jQuery. I'm sorry to tell you guys that. Yeah.
What would my advice be to someone in Nigeria to relocate or attempt remote jobs? I honestly couldn't tell you. Yeah, jQuery is a nice introduction of, hey, here's a library that someone used. Figure out if you can go through the documentation, see if you can get it to do what you need to do, see if you start picking up concepts like selecting items from the DOM and manipulating it, adding classes, and making it a little bit more fancy with some pre-built animations, and then you move on. That's really the point of jQuery. It was there before other things were. Like, let's see. jQuery was released August 26th in 2006. 13 years later, we're talking about jQuery. And in October 20th, 2010, AngularJS came out. So you had a great opportunity here to make a transition. So jQuery had its day for about 10 years. All the way up until I'd say 2015, 2014. But now it's time, it's time to move on. Am I a bulldog? Oh my goodness, I don't know. I'd have to ask John. A few more free codecamp algorithms to finish. I'm going to start your algorithm course. Bought it a month or two back. Good for you, man. If you guys are interested in any of my courses, you can get them for $10 in the description below. You should give out some salt. Miss those days. Yeah, man. The good old days. It's just time to move on from jQuery. That's all. It's not like here, man. Like, if you could do jQuery, let's say you make $50K doing jQuery, you'll probably make 100 plus doing Angular or React. Hey Dylan, what I was trying to ask in your last AMA was, do you ever think about how your code interacts with the hardware in an effort to maximize speed and efficiency of your program? No, I mean, really just browser compatibility would be the closest thing. In the front end, you don't really have to worry too much about speed and efficiency unless someone wrote a really bad service and you're manipulating tons of data. That's when you start to have to worry about it. Do I use NGRX with Angular? I've done it a little bit. I don't really have any resources. It's literally one of those things where I probably should take a course on it. But I haven't. I just sort of learn it piece by piece. I imagine there's a Udemy course you can go take on it and dive deep. They're always updating. They're always breaking their compatibility with that stuff too. So it's kind of hard to find a good one. Man. I'm tired, man. I did 7 hours of driving today. More like 9 because you gotta stop. You gotta let the dogs out to pee every hour and a half, 2 hours because we got a puppy, right? Have I used PHP? Yeah, I used PHP in my very first role. PHP and Cake PHP. What movies for developers would you love that you can recommend? The Social Network, Ex Machina, The Imitation Game. I love these. Let me think here. Games for
one if you've never seen Rounders, it's a poker movie, but as someone who likes logic, you might like that. Rounders is a great movie. It has Matt Damon and Edward Norton in it. What else? I don't know. That's a very hard category to fill. I don't know that there's too many like developer movies. The Matrix maybe. Did I know PHP before my first role? No, I didn't. Let's see. I'm trying to think of any other movies. Ready Player One? I don't know. I didn't really like Ready Player One. It wasn't that bad. It just wasn't that good. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of any. War games. Ooh, we're going back. Dylan, as a visually impaired guy, do you think I could start a good niche video series on YouTube about my experience as an impaired dev? I mean, I think that could be part of your YouTube channel without a doubt. But make whatever content you want, man. At some point, that's just going to be part of your story, right? You're just going to be a developer, just like for me, right? Take me as an example. Part of my story is that I'm self-taught. I'm from pizza delivery driver to, dev doing well for himself. I would look at it more as like, hey, here's your YouTube channel. And a big part of what makes you is that you've gone through some challenges in your life being visually impaired. And, look how, you're going and becoming a developer and regardless of that. So, I don't necessarily think your channel should be dedicated to that, but is that going to be part of your story? Absolutely. Appreciate your content, Dylan. 6 months in the first role as an enterprise Java developer. Any thoughts on whether it's best to focus solely on technologies used in said company? I would say that it's not a bad strategy, but you'll probably make more money long term learning what the market demands. So let's say that you're doing Java and they're not using the latest framework, but other companies are for whatever reason, whatever the latest version of Spring is, or I don't know. I don't know Java. I would go and learn that and jump for a job and get a pay increase if you're in your very first role. Damn, that's rough. Do you think you can be successful on YouTube if you look below average and have a hard accent? Roberto Diaz, I'm sure you're a lovely man. But I would say that I think it's fine. I mean, how many content creators are from India and have thick Indian accents because English is their second language, and good on them. They know two languages, and are very successful. People watch your tutorials nonstop. Kids anytime soon? 2011 maybe. 2011 was when we start talking about it. Then it's got to marinate for 9 months later. Probably not till 2012, 2013, but 2011 is when the process starts, I suppose. Oh. If I disconnect, guys, it's because there's thunder and lightning. I just heard the thunder, and sometimes it gives power surges around here. Should I teach your kid Python? We both felt so bored. Hey. I might be teaching a summer boot camp. So where
I essentially do online courses. I do a 1 hour online Monday through Friday, and then a in-person class on Saturdays. So that might be something I end up doing. I'm supposed to find out next week or two. So. Hey Dylan, I took a C and Java course in college, but I haven't touched them since. Should I keep them on my resume for front end positions? I definitely can't answer C and Java questions. Probably not. I don't put anything on my resume I can't speak to. How was the bare knuckle fight? It was dope, man. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a big MMA guy, and bare knuckle fighting came to town in the Tampa area, and so I got April and I front row seats, and it was dope, man. There's probably like 12 fights in total with the prelims, and they were going at it, throwing hands, and I got April and I a shirt and like a bag each. So it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I'd probably go again. If UFC ever comes out this way, I'll definitely buy tickets for that as well. Yeah, I don't treat myself too often, but you know, sometimes you gotta go enjoy yourself. It was a good time though. I haven't done Airbnb yet, but I'd like to. How do you screen people for your Airbnb? Do you mean like if you're trying to rent your house out, or if you're going? If you're going to a place? 'Cause that's two different things. All right, Simon, keep up the good work, man. How's your girlfriend? She's in a manager role now. She hasn't been able to get a job, man. She's been struggling. She's starting to learn code again. She's for the last 3 weeks she's been killing it on doing the JavaScript thing. Have I ever watched the Megalobox? No, I haven't. Yeah, she's sick of getting rejected for roles. So she got a bunch of project manager and Scrum certifications, and she still can't get a job as a Scrum master. And what's with the pillow on the tripod? It's to block the air. It's a microphone. Like, you know. You know what this is, man. Like, they have those you have a microphone like so, and then you put this on it so the wind doesn't do it. Mess with it. You mean, how do you screen people to come stay at your place? So, when you're on Airbnb, you have the option of how strict you want to be. You can pre-approve people if they meet certain requirements, such as they have reviews, so you have that option. And if someone's already been reviewed and they're like, oh, it's been great a couple times, you're going to be fine, man. So that's what we did. We set it up where you had to be verified. You had to have your ID on there, and you had to have reviews. That's pretty much it. So just find whatever settings that you're comfortable with and work with it. Also, one thing that made it easier for us is we just gave them a smart key so that we didn't have to worry about them making copies of the keys that are staying longer than they wanted or were supposed to or anything crazy like that. Their key got deleted after their stay ended. I'm gonna text April to make some food. Yeah, more or less. I was really impressed with the Airbnb sort of policies when it came to how customizable it was to work for you. I am tired, man. I left. We did about 9 hours of driving, and I'm also detoxing from caffeine. But yeah, I mean, it was a long day. I just wanted to make sure I did this live stream before I knocked out because I'm going to bed early, man. We also our puppy isn't fully crate trained, so we never get a chance to sleep in. It wakes up at like 5:30 and just starts yapping and telling you, get up. We don't like those days. If we go to bed an hour late, we don't get to sleep in an hour, even if we're on vacation, even if it's the weekend. Nope, you getting up, and she's gonna let you know you're getting up. She's a sweet dog though. Yeah. I also was putting in a lot of work before we left for our trip to try and get this course out and submit it before we left. And I got it, but it was, I mean, probably, let's see, we left on Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I probably put in 30 hours of work, 25 hours around there. How's the real estate rental property coming along? Not too great. Right now I'm just stockpiling money, and I'm going to come back to that. I don't have any Node courses. Have I worked with React Native? No. What kind of dogs? They're both purebred Australian Shepherds. She's downstairs. She's not allowed upstairs quite yet because she's not fully potty trained. She's 3 months right now. We got her at 5 weeks. Let me see if I got a picture I can show you guys. She's cute though. They're best of friends, man. The dogs get along great. Yeah, I only have videos. Sorry, guys. Oh, here's one picture. You guys see that? She got blue eyes. How did you learn Node? I just started building things. I still don't know it inside and out because I haven't done a course yet in it. I definitely need to do a course. Build some more complex things as well. Can you share a simple explanation of what state management is on the front end? State management is the way that you can maintain state of an application and things like local storage so that when you refresh the page, it goes back to the way the page and the state of it goes back to the way that it was. What are your thoughts on Josh Fluke and his channel? I like what Josh is doing, man. Josh's most impressive thing is that he's just talking about things people care about, and then he's continually putting out content to keep people interested. So Josh is killing it. He's also very honest, man. That's the one thing that I think people like about my channel and people really like about Josh's channel is you get a honest opinion about things. You get to see the man behind the camera. You get to I'd like to think that people watch this and they don't go, yeah, Dylan ain't nothing like that, or Josh isn't nothing like that. And I think that's what people are connecting about. Drew, it doesn't, you don't need to worry about hardware as a web developer. But yeah, state management is just making sure your page loads the same. It doesn't necessarily have to be after you refresh, but it can be. If I was going to take a Node course, which course would it be? I'd probably just look up on Udemy. I do have a Node course. I don't remember which one it was, but when I did, I just looked up a highly rated with a lot of reviews Node course and went with that one. Hey, what's going on, James? How's life, man? But yeah, I like what Josh is doing, man, because Josh is keeping people interested. Josh is keeping it fun. He's talking about the same stuff that people care about, and he's giving good advice. I watched this thing about recruiters, and I loved it. I thought he was a little salty, without a doubt, and because he's had bad experiences, but can state management use cookies? It can, yeah. So state management is more of a principle than a certain technology. It's about making sure your application loads the same or retains how it was. It can involve cookies, it can involve local storage, it can involve state management libraries like Redux or Vuex, various things. You could talk about functional programming when it comes to state management and how that plays a factor. But the goal here is to make sure that your application, if a change in the application occurs, that it reflects that when you go back to the application. That's probably the best way that I can put it without saying state in my definition. It's funny that you ask about state management explanation, because in the course I've built that I will be releasing next week, we talk about that. Do you guys hear that rain? All right, guys, I'm going to go get some dinner. I'm starving. I'm tired. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope I was able to provide some direction, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. Just put it all in the global state. Kevin got it. That's what those jQuery guys would tell you. If you're interested in any of my courses, I do implement an example of state management, yes. If you're interested in any of my courses, there are links in the description below where you can get them at a discount. And I, of course, will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.